Come here now, girl.
Hello and welcome to WhatsMap, your one-stop shop for everything workshop. I'm BonBonB and you're very, very welcome. Right, it's Tuesday's request day, the very first request day of 2021. And a big shout out to me22CA. I still prefer, your name looks like Mecca. I'm going to stick with it until you shoot me. Mecca, who suggested this map, they put some really helpful comments on the description to the creator, and you know what, they are that helpful. I'm going to base my entire map review upon them because pretty much that's all I could find with the map as well. So yeah, good find, great share, completely agree with your feedback. Now this creator, it's
my first map.
That's right. So it's our very first, it's my first map of the season. And if you're into very firsts, maybe you should do this for the very first time too. That's right, hitting that like button really does support the channel, gets me seen by more people and helps me grow a little bit more every single day. Thank you for your support. Today's map is Agir by Marek. Is that Agir? Possibly. Is that French? French to act? I think it might be to act. Anyway, yes, there's your start square. Just a hint of water there and the highway and even a hint of the rail. It's very well laid out, actually. The terrain height's pretty flat today, so big old city, maybe a big old grid city going on with this one. Then you have resources that around the outside of the 25 tiles. You can get to them, but you might not get to them all if you're playing a 9-tile game. And if you've got the Sunset Harbour DLC, then this is what your fishing map will look like. I would say that's pretty good too. Off to the workshop. What do we need? Well, it is a mass transit map. You will need mass transit for this one. More about that later. Generic tree pack, ultra low tri filler pine pack, and then the realistic 1.5.5 temperate theme. Unlimited trees. And because I completely forgot to reset the LUT, we'll be running with the relight average rather than the realistic 1.2, which is very much my bad. I'm sorry for that. It should be the softer, lighter greens and the less contrast. But hey, there you go. So anyways, yes, what can I tell you about this map? Well, the creator wanted to build a map which is going to be good for one of their own city builds, which is going to have a lot of build space, and it had the highway layout that worked for them with some nice rivers. Well, they've got some of this right, and the some of it would be the highways. While they're not the most efficient in making the traffic avoid the actual start square intersection, they're still good and strong, and they work quite nicely with the environment, so all of the credit there. Now the highways, we have got mass transit down as a required DLC today, and it is required, otherwise the map won't work. I do feel that maybe the way that it's been used today, that creator could have got away with just going 100% base game. Oh, I'm going to show you this little rail bridge. In fact, we won't even stop. Just like in this stinky little rail bridge here, there's a lot of credit for this one, that we're able to just whiz over this one. Remember, it's my first map. Seeing something as clean and as tidy as that little bridge there on the my first map, all of the credit, because we've seen people make more maps with worse bridges than that. So yes, it's a map where mass transit's been brought in to allow for lane mathematics at especially at this first intersection, which is still some way off, so I'm just going to warble on a little bit. And I'll actually have a look at the lane mathematics in the second half of the show. For those of you that are big Biffa fans, you'll know what I'm talking about. But yes, the lane mathematics work really quite nicely on this first intersection. There's a possibility, I don't really stop and look at it, but there's a possibility for a little bit of terrain cleaning, a little bit of the smoothing tool, maybe one tap on the very lowest setting down here. But it's actually not so bad I have a problem with it, so I didn't think to stand and chat about it too long. And also the 4-lane mass transit highway here could be just a little bit longer to allow for main lane merging, but it's not too bad, and it's a really nice effort. Liking the way you go from 4 lanes into 4 lanes, and then the crossover, which is 2 lanes wide as well. A little bit of road stress there as well. Slight darkening of the texture, but it's not too bad. And this I knew was going to be a disaster. I came down here and it's not. It's really tightly done, really cleanly done, and that there is actually a pretty damned fine intersection. Again, the 4 lanes here for the merge, I'd just rather that was a little bit, like maybe double the length to allow the traffic to get into lanes. You just go for that realistic, real life vibe to it. Won't affect the game too much, if any at all. Okay, big old bridge time. Everybody loves a big old bridge, and this one's perfectly fine. It's a basic, what I'm going to call perfect bridge. There's nothing wrong with it. We could have gone to the next level by putting a little bowing into it, but it's still good, fine work. And no blue mantle, which is a double bonus credit there. Down to the start square intersection. Now you'll notice here, though, lane mathematics has not been employed. This is almost like this was plopped in with no real thought put into it at all. And we'll come back and we'll do a little bit of work on this in the second half of the show. Not that it's going to require much work at all, but just to show you, if you're newish to the game and you're new to lane mathematics, and again, always a big shout out to Biffa, who was the one who punned the phrase. You know, we're all renowned for punning our little phrases. Like over here, we have the Essential Lighthouse and Jinky Jankies and so forth, and shipping clipping, all of those things. And Biffa has his lane mathematics, so yeah, we'll bow to his great knowledge on these things. Now, I think it's fair to say that the highways here are perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. They're not very exciting. I don't think they're intended to be. I do like the way they cut through the forest, and also credit again for the forests and the choice of trees. And also, look at the way that they blend. They transition away from the forest into the open landscape with just like a scattering of trees as we get away from the big forest. So again, I think this is very good. I'm going to call it basic standards, but I'll tell you what, the amount of people that haven't got basic standards means that this is better than basic standards. This is going up a level from basic standards. And again, for a first map, that's credit is due. Credit has to be due. Good choice of trees that aren't going to stress the system too much, and at least the very basic standards. And I approve. All right, let's have a look at the rail. The rail is again, much like the highways, perfectly fine. It's pushed a little bit to the extreme on this junction coming up here. Now, if you look away, you won't see it, and that's fine. That's fine. That'll win. But we've got not only a bit of catenary chaos going on here. You can see with the pylons standing on the lines there. We've got some buckling of the line as well. We've got some blue mantle as well. Now, to be fair, the vanilla rail, it is very hard to more catenary chaos there as well. It's very hard to get it to behave. It's not an easy skill, and I don't think it'd be very harsh to come down too hard on Marek for missing that one or for letting that one through. This is where the something like the Railway Replacer mod is superb. If you haven't actually played about with the Railway Replacer mod, that's the way to go. If you want those perfect rail every time, then that's the way. That's the route. But as it is, I'm still liking the rail more than I'm disliking it, because if you're just talking about one little junction issue, that's not something to dislike a map for, is it? I think not. Anyway, the rail is as exciting as the highway in that it doesn't really do anything. It just cuts across the environment. At least it's not perfectly straight. So there's something to be said for that as well. We have seen maps where the highway was like a perfectly straight line right across the map, and there was just nothing to talk about at all. At least here we've got some very nice bridges as well, and a nice transition to the bridge. We haven't gone elevated. There's no ramps here. Again, on my first map with no ramps going up and over a rail bridge. It's credit for that one as well. So there's a lot of good. I'm going to say it's a lot of good stuff going on with this map, even if it is a little bit uninspiring in terms of just not uninspiring isn't even the word. It lacks the thrill factor. There we go. It lacks the thrill factor. has got some very nice shaped rivers. We'll have a look at those on the second half of the show once we just follow this off towards there's that lovely little rail bridge. I like that little rail bridge. That's worth a star in itself, actually. Yeah, that should be a new rule. 5 little rail bridges and that becomes a 5-star map. That's the way we should do this, isn't it? We'll award 1 star for every little perfect rail bridge. You'd have a 100-star map just by having lots of perfect rail bridges. Lovely. Anyway, as we look out onto the horizon, we will come back after the intermission to check out the shipping and the water flow. That's the other thing as well. Good water flow today. And then we'll check out some of those other bits and pieces around the edges of the map. And so back to Agir by Marek and that shipping route, where just the one shipping route coming in from what is the correct end where the water is flowing down to. So you can have the big old ships coming up this way and they will dead end right about there. That's fine. In terms of the air routes, I will point out that we do have a T-junction in the air. It won't really affect planes too much, but I wouldn't want to be a passenger on Air Chirper as it stands, because that might end up with your martini on your lap if you're not careful. And then water flow in the rivers is very strong indeed, so you'll have no problem at all if you want to pump sewage away. Just stick an outflow downstream from your inflow and you will be fine. But more about the rivers in a moment. All told, the map's got a nice vibe to it. I'm liking the shapes of the forests, I'm liking the shapes of the rivers, I'm liking the little lakes, using those to break up the map a little bit as well. Liking the way that the rail lines the forest, that's a nice little touch as well. And we've got a lake here, which is almost a perfect circle. There must have been a crater, an impact crater at some point, I feel. Also, look at the trees around these lakes, how they transition as you're getting closer to the water. They're thicker and denser, and again, that's a good basic standard that you don't see from many creators. It doesn't have to be that way, but I think it does look good when you do. Now, we do have this river, this just doesn't work, okay? This is not a natural river shape, because even the Cities Skylines water does not want to follow that. There's no way. The water would follow the path of least resistance, which is down that way, possibly down the side route there as well. But this would become an oxbow lake. I can understand it being that shape, but it would not. Look, even Cities Skylines can't feel that. So yeah, that I think that's time to downgrade that from a loop to an oxbow stroke billabong, depending on where you are in the world. Again, down here, this river would not naturally split like this. It just looks really strange, and this connection here doesn't make any sense to me at all. I'm really struggling with the shapes of the rivers down here. All told, I think they've got a nice look. And also these little rivers over here are really nice, with all the springs being marked out by these rocks, including my ex-wife's house down here. There it is, the old Troll's Cave. And then we have, I'm going to get myself hung one of these days. And then, of course, there's my house there. Hopefully we've just leveled out so they get calmer a little bit there. This pier makes no sense to me whatsoever, at all, ever. I don't know what is going on. I don't think that could ever have been used as a pier for any purpose. But yeah, just delete it. But also this river is struggling for water too. This is very stop-start and this is permanent. So yeah, a couple of extra water sources just to pump that up a little bit and we will be fine. Then back down to the start square intersection, because I did promise you we're going to do some lane mathematics stuff, didn't I? So let's have a look. So you've got 3 lanes going into 4 lanes. So let's downgrade those 3-lane highways to a mass transit 2-lane highway. That's correct, isn't it? Yep. And pump. Now, admittedly, this isn't the smoothest of changes. I might tweak one of these in a minute. This little space here between these two would go down to 2 lanes. And also the 2 entry roads are here. These would be 2 lanes as well. Going to need to have anarchy on for some reason there, but there we go. There we go. And so that's all 2 lanes into 2 lanes as well. That's pretty clean. So yeah, so you need to move the nodes and the segments about just a little bit, like here, I'm going to do a quick job if I can here. What's going to need moving? The next node back down might need a shift actually. There we go. Move the node in a little bit here. This one can come down here to pinch it. Yeah, I would spend a lot more time on this, but for that, you can see how that's already a little bit better than what we had before. And as we're in the start square, we've got something really cute today. It's me. Oh no, not that cute. Not that cute at all. No, the Addeo and Sons Bakery by Gilded Age. This is a little ye old world bakers in Little Italy, and I've forgotten what city, but that would be America somewhere. How come it's always Little Italy but Chinatown? Huh? How is that? Can somebody explain? Anyway, factoids, because factoids while we're here. So Winston Churchill was born in a ladies' cloakroom. Oh, there's an old-fashioned term, speaking of the old world. Old-fashioned in a ladies' cloakroom, after his mother went into labour during a dance at Blenheim Palace. Blenheim Palace ladies' cloakroom. Ah, well, there's a place to do. What's that say? Oh, retail entrance at corner. Wow, they've really gone to the extra layer here, haven't they? Look at this. Oh, I'm hungry now. I want bread. I want bread. I want pastries. They sell fresh dough. I want to go in. Addeo and Sons Bakery by Gilded Age. That is a marvellous, marvellous little building. Thanks, Gilded. Excellent work. Anyways, shall we find ourselves a place to settle this camera down? And while I do that, I'm going to ask you, would you kindly vote on this map? Is it a 1-star map? Is it a 5-star map? Is it somewhere in between? Your vote really does count. We use it at the end of the month for the Viewer's Choice Top 10. Will this be one of the top 10 maps of the month? Only you can decide. Click the I button now in the top right hand corner of your screen. It will take you to the voting page where you can vote for free. But what do I think of today's map? Well, it's got a nice vibe to it. I think that is something to be said. It has a really lovely vibe to it. I think aesthetically, it has been helped a little bit by the fact I've got the wrong LUT, but I still think overall it's got a nice feel. I don't think it really jumps to a 4-star map level though, so I'm going to go for a high 3. It feels nice. Detailing. On the whole, there's not too much wrong with this actually. I've had a little bit of a laugh and joke about rocks, but other than that, it's okay. It's okay. Not too much. Could still be a little bit tweaking here and there. So I'm going to go slightly above middle 3 because I think there's a little bit of tweaking that needs doing and a lot more could be added. Gameplay potential. While it doesn't excite me massively, I think it has ticked all the boxes that they were looking to tick. And so if you want to build a big city by a river, yeah, go for it. I'm going to go 4 stars. I'm going to go lowish end of 4 because I'm not inspired, but it ticks all the boxes. Agir by Marek. That is not bad for a first map at all. Not bad at all. I think there's a lot to be taken from that one. I'm saying the shapes of the rivers look really lovely. They don't quite work. They don't quite work. Always with rivers, think what would a river droplet do? Be the river. Anyway, if you're still watching, you are part of the 20 and out elite. Use the word of the day into the comments to score yourself some population points just for fun. And we'll be back tomorrow with yet another map in the What's Map series. Thanks for watching. I'll see you very, very soon.